Welcome back to Iraqi Dinar News, your go-to source for timely updates and critical insights into the Iraqi dinar, Vietnamese dong, and the broader currency revaluation landscape. What we're about to share today might be one of the most important developments we've seen in recent memory. The spotlight is on June 20th, 2025, a date that multiple sources, ranging from IMF insiders to contacts within the Central Bank of Iraq, CBI, are pointing to as a potential turning point. This is not just another round of hopeful speculation. This time, the signs are lining up in a way we haven't seen before. If you've been watching, waiting, or holding on to IQD or VND, now is the time to pay close attention. What unfolds around this date could redefine how global markets view these currencies, and your financial future might just be part of that equation. The excitement is building for a reason. Over the past several weeks, there's been a distinct shift from behind-the-scenes chatter to coordinated activity within some of the world's largest financial institutions. Central banks across Asia and the Middle East are syncing systems. Financial desks in major U.S. and European banks are quietly preparing for immediate rate adjustments. This level of activity doesn't occur without purpose. June 20th is being described internally as a decision point, and potentially the date when a global acknowledgement could take place. An acknowledgement that might elevate the status of the Iraqi dinar and Vietnamese dong in a very public and very permanent way. Starting with Iraq, let's break down what's been happening. The Central Bank of Iraq has made multiple public statements in recent months, emphasizing exchange rate stability and digital innovation. They've also taken direct steps to reduce reliance on the US dollar, urging both private businesses and government sectors to prioritize dinar-based transactions. These moves are not random. They're part of a calculated strategy to strengthen the IQD domestically before reintroducing it to the global stage. What makes this more than theory is the fact that Iraq is actively testing a tiered exchange rate system, which includes separate values for domestic use, market interactions, and large-scale contractual agreements. Sources indicate that June 20th could trigger the shift to Tier 2, the official international exchange rate rollout. Then there's the IMF, which plays a crucial role in legitimizing any global revaluation. For years, the IMF has pushed Iraq and Vietnam to modernize their systems, comply with global standards, and prepare for eventual monetary integration. From what we're now hearing, the IMF may be ready to endorse Iraq's progress. This endorsement is more than ceremonial. Once the IMF confirms a country's compliance, especially with provisions like Article 8, that currency becomes eligible for unrestricted international trade. If that stamp of approval is issued publicly on June 20th, the IQD will no longer be viewed as just a regional currency. It will enter the global marketplace with legitimacy, liquidity, and real-time valuation potential. What follows could be a chain reaction. Global forex systems might adjust in hours. Banking platforms across multiple continents could update their rate boards. Private financial institutions could begin scheduling currency exchange appointments. In short, it could be the moment that turns years of anticipation into tangible results for IQD holders. But Iraq isn't the only player preparing for a leap forward. Vietnam has also made tremendous progress in aligning its financial infrastructure with international standards. The Vietnamese government has introduced capital market reforms, eased foreign investment restrictions, and improved central bank transparency. One of the clearest signs came when the U.S. Treasury removed Vietnam from its currency manipulation watch list. That single move opened the doors for deeper engagement with global financial institutions. Banks like HSBC and Standard Chartered have reportedly started internal training to prepare for exchange volatility around the dong. When multinational financial firms allocate resources toward a currency's potential rate shift, it's not out of curiosity, it's based on projections and signals that are rarely wrong. According to credible insiders, June 20th is being floated internally as a target date for Vietnam's next big move toward currency liberalization. It might not be a full RV on that exact day, but it could be the official signal that changes how the world interacts with the VND. So why does June 20th keep coming up in analyst discussions, confidential meetings, and interbank briefings? Because the indicators, economic, political, technical, and institutional, all seem to be converging at once. Forex analysts, private wealth managers, and global economic advisors are citing this date repeatedly. Documents shared within IMF working groups and internal planning memos all reference it. At this point, it's no longer a matter of isolated rumor, it's a coordinated pattern. The consensus forming is that this isn't necessarily the final moment of revaluation, but it may be the moment when the green light is given for everything else to begin. Let's revisit the heart of Iraq's evolving currency plan, the three-tier exchange rate system, because this framework could be key to understanding what June 20th may trigger. According to well-placed sources within the financial infrastructure, Tier 1 was focused on stabilizing Iraq's internal markets and bringing currency transactions back under state control. That work is mostly complete. The nation has reduced its dependency on the US dollar and has actively pushed dinar usage inside both public and private sectors. These steps were essential for preparing the ground. Now all eyes are on Tier 2, the stage that would introduce an official, globally accepted exchange rate. This is what many believe will be initiated around June 20th. If this happens, it would mean the dinar could finally appear on live forex systems with real-time valuations, making it tradable across banks and financial institutions worldwide. Tier 3, meanwhile, would cover strategic contract rates higher than market exchange rates tied to large-scale reconstruction, energy, and national development projects. That tier is reserved for government-level deals and sovereign asset-based negotiations. But what gives this entire strategy real weight is the backing behind it. We're not just seeing isolated efforts by the Central Bank of Iraq. Global financial players are actively involved. Reports suggest that the World Bank is now assisting Iraq with digital payment infrastructure and foreign exchange oversight tools. This means Iraq is not acting alone. It's working in coordination with major international financial entities, which increases the credibility of what's unfolding. Now turning to Vietnam, the progress is equally compelling. The Vietnamese government has implemented cutting-edge technologies such as blockchain-based remittance tracking, AI-powered fraud prevention systems, and new transparency agreements with foreign partners. Most notably, Vietnam signed a financial cooperation deal with Switzerland aimed at enhancing transparency in monetary policy, a top priority of the IMF. These reforms are not accidental. They are calculated moves designed to signal Vietnam's readiness for a more open currency environment. In fact, several Tier 1 banks operating in Southeast Asia have updated their internal currency forecasts for VND. These changes include contingency plans for sudden liquidity demands, revised trading models, and capital flow adjustments, all in response to signals that the Vietnamese dong may shift toward a market-driven exchange rate. None of these preparations would be taking place unless high-level actors believed a structural change was imminent. Let's not overlook the critical role of liquidity indicators either. Over the past 60 days, large volume activity has been recorded in repo and reverse repo markets involving both IQD and VND-length assets. These short-term interbank lending tools are commonly used to manage institutional liquidity in advance of high-impact financial events. At the same time, dormant SWIFT codes assigned to both the dinar and the dong have been quietly reactivated at several large banks. That kind of action suggests operational readiness, not speculation. Even more telling, sovereign bond yields in both Iraq and Vietnam have tightened in recent weeks. When bond spreads narrow like this, it often means investors are anticipating either a ratings upgrade or a significant change in fiscal outlook. These adjustments typically precede major announcements by international monetary authorities. Combined with increasing references to IQD and VND within IMF internal communications, the evidence pointing toward June 20th is stacking up. Digital currency systems are also playing a growing role in this story. Iraq has reportedly begun testing a central bank digital currency, CBDC, developed in collaboration with the Bank for International Settlements. This digital dinar will be crucial for tracking high-value transactions, improving anti-money laundering efforts, and offering seamless integration with international remittance systems. Vietnam, meanwhile, is exploring blockchain infrastructure that would enable near-instant currency movement between institutions and individual users, especially for cross-border transfers. Why is this relevant? Because in the current financial world, no currency can claim international legitimacy without digital compatibility. The future of finance depends on digital rails, smart contracts, instant validation protocols, and encrypted compliance reporting. Any country planning to integrate fully into global markets must adopt these systems in tandem with monetary reforms. And that's exactly what Iraq and Vietnam are doing. If these systems are up, tested, and secure by June 20th, that adds a tremendous layer of legitimacy to any forthcoming revaluation announcement. It signals that not only are these countries ready to adjust their currency values, they're also ready to operate under modern, transparent, and scalable financial standards. That's the kind of readiness the IMF, World Bank, and private banking institutions look for before greenlighting broader integration. For IQD and VEND holders, the message is becoming clear. This moment may not be a fantasy, it may be the beginning of the reality you've been waiting for. But it's not enough to just hold currency and wait. If you want to benefit from these upcoming changes, you need to be prepared. That means verifying the authenticity of your notes, securing proper documentation, and establishing a relationship with a bank that handles foreign exchange. Some institutions are more advanced than others when it comes to processing these currencies. You do not want to be the one scrambling for answers if an opportunity window opens and closes quickly. So what should IQD and VND holders be doing right now, with June 20th fast approaching and indicators pointing toward a major currency development? First and foremost, it's about readiness, not reaction. Don't wait for public confirmation to begin organizing. By the time a headline appears on television or mainstream financial media, the first wave of opportunities may already be underway. Redemption centers and private banks might be scheduling appointments behind closed doors, available only to those who are already prepared. That's why it's crucial to act now, while there's still time to ensure your documentation, verification, and strategy are in place. Start by confirming that your currency is authentic. This means reviewing your notes against updated verification guides and ensuring you purchase through authorized dealers. Keep digital and printed copies of all receipts and certificates of authenticity. If you're holding large amounts, consider having your currency re-verified by a licensed third-party service. Many institutions will require proof of both purchase and custody before processing high-value exchanges. Remember, the more organized and transparent your records, the more likely you are to be accepted for processing swiftly once the exchange period begins. Beyond verification, speak with your financial institution. Not every bank will be equipped or authorized to handle these exchanges, especially at preferred rates. Focus on Tier 1 banks that have a known history of working with international currencies and that have foreign exchange desks or private wealth divisions. Some banks may also require clients to be pre-registered before they'll be considered for contract rate appointments. Call your bank directly and ask what preparations, if any, they've made for upcoming foreign currency activity. The more questions you ask now, the fewer surprises you'll encounter later. You'll also want to talk to a financial advisor or tax professional, especially if a revaluation creates sudden wealth. In the United States, any profit made from currency exchange could be subject to capital gains tax, depending on how long you've held the currency and what your total income looks like. Don't get caught off guard. If this is your first time dealing with significant financial gains, now is the time to map out a plan, not after the money arrives. For those living outside the U.S., make sure to check your local tax rules. International taxation varies, and early guidance can save you from penalties down the road. Another issue to be aware of is scams. As more attention builds around June 20th, expect an increase in fraudulent activity. This includes fake emails offering early access, social media messages promising private rates, and unlicensed dealers looking to buy up dinar or dong from uninformed holders. Stay far away from unofficial offers, especially anyone requesting your bank details or urging you to mail in your currency. The safest route is always through a licensed bank, recognized redemption center, or legal advisor. If you're unsure, visit a branch in person or call directly using an official bank contact. Also, understand that not all opportunities will be equal. Contract rates or structured exchange options may be offered to those who come prepared with reinvestment plans, clean financial records, and a history of legal compliance. Some redemption centers will ask about how you plan to use your new wealth. Even a basic written reinvestment proposal can help position you for better outcomes, especially if it aligns with goals like economic development, education, agriculture, or humanitarian aid. These projects are often favored in strategic contracts tied to the revaluation process. Let's talk about expectations. While June 20th is shaping up to be a critical milestone, it may not mark the instant revaluation that some expect. What's more likely is a formal acknowledgement from the IMF, CBI, or other financial bodies that Iraq and Vietnam have met the necessary standards for international recognition. That alone could be the signal banks need to begin processing exchanges or activating contract tiers. But even if the official rates don't go live on that exact day, the structural groundwork will have been laid. Once that happens, things can move quickly, sometimes in a matter of days. The key takeaway is to be ready without being reckless. This is not about hype or overnight riches. It's about understanding the direction global finance is moving and how your preparation can determine whether you benefit or miss out. Many people have held IQD or VND for years, some even for decades. The moment may finally be approaching, but it will reward only those who are informed, organized, and ready to act with clarity and caution. If June 20th brings confirmation from the IMF or central banks, we could witness a series of rapid events: rate board updates, forex system recalibrations, public and private exchange options going live, and widespread institutional reaction. The ripple effect may extend across investment platforms, bank policies, and even sovereign bond markets. That's why we urge you to stay tuned. Keep your information updated, stay in close contact with your bank, and don't hesitate to consult professionals. The more you do now, the better positioned you'll be when the doors open. And when they do open, it may not be for long. Redemption periods can be short. Appointment windows can fill up fast. Institutional caps could limit how much is processed in the first wave. Timing, preparation, and accuracy will be everything. In closing, whether June 20th brings a revaluation announcement, a compliance recognition from the IMF, or simply the beginning of structured implementation, it's clear that momentum is building. Iraq and Vietnam are not standing still. Neither should you. This is your chance to be ahead of the curve, not behind it. Thank you for staying with us here at Iraqi Dinar News. If you found this report helpful, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and tap the notification bell so you never miss a key update. Share this episode with anyone you know who holds dinar or dong. They deserve to be informed too. As the countdown continues, we'll be right here, breaking down every step, every shift, and every new development as it happens. The future is near. Let's meet it prepared. Together.